Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bond and Newton. This is the other part of the I Talk Back Sports show, and this is where Madam Newton and myself speak about things not necessarily just specific to sports. I'm Jamal Bonner. I'm joined by Kay. Hi, Kay. So, on today's show, we are going to discuss a few things having to do with the entertainment industry, a little bit of politics, a brief little bit about sports, and we're going to have an interesting recap of a trek to Brooklyn that both of us undertook. But we will get to that later. For starters, however, Kay, do you have any shout outs that you'd like to make this afternoon?
Yes, I would like to give a shout out to my family member who got married on yesterday. I want to congratulate Maddie and Cliff on their new voyage together of beautiful lifetime bliss of happiness, or something like that. What about you, Jamal?
That's excellent. Very excellent. I would like to give a shout out to Disney, and in particular for the announcement of the live action version of The Lion King, with the caveat that this version actually has a predominantly black cast, especially for a movie that is supposed to be being based in the continent of Africa. So shout out to Disney for actually getting this right in terms of having a predominantly black cast for your one of your big vehicles. So thank you, Disney.
And Disney, please sign the Migos for the hyenas. They'll be a great fit.
We're gonna discuss that. I'm not there yet, but okay.
If not them, then who, Jamal? We'll discuss.
We'll discuss. We'll discuss. I'm gonna need an episode to come back and answer that. I mean, we have till 2019.
Okay, fair enough.
So that being said, let's go ahead and start the show. We're gonna have a quick little discussion about the legalization of marijuana and the decriminalization law.
So, Jamal, I can't say if I'm for or against it, but I'm just saying people do it, so you might as well make it legal, okay? And everywhere, and I think the hesitation of the government in the past to make it legal is because they can't tax it, because they're greedy and they want their hands in everything. So I think this is really a good thing that more and more states are making it legal or just okay. Like we're not going to really charge you, if you get caught with a certain amount. I think that's really cool, Jamal. What do you think?
I have heard that in Canada that they're going to have it in their liquor stores by summer of 2018, and that there's the there will be the ability of those who are over the age of 18 to walk into one of the state-run liquor stores and purchase marijuana off the shelf. That being said, and that thus means it's going to be taxed. The states who have raised a ton of revenue based upon the taxing of marijuana are sitting there grinning and going to the bank with tons of cash that other states could actually be using, putting towards who knows what. I am really surprised that the states of Tennessee and Kentucky in particular haven't figured out that this whole moral thing that they have against it is costing them, because they're some of the biggest growers of marijuana in the 48 states. So let's go ahead and decriminalize it and quit worrying about it being a gateway drug for those people who are going to go forward in terms of doing other drugs. There's really not anything that you can do about it, but what you do is you provide the ability for rehabilitation, and instead of using the money towards trying to catch dealers and so forth. Focus on trying to help the people who seek help and get them back into society so that they can pay taxes and keep this government going with more money and pay more
Jamal,
taxes.
when you say that they want to tax marijuana, it's going to bring so much money. Also, they say the same thing about the lottery and how much money it was bringing to the schools. I really don't see where there's really been a benefit for that. But hey, if they say it, then we're definitely going to go ahead and believe it and go along with it.
I would be more inclined to talk about the taxes that are involved with alcohol and cigarette sales and less about the lottery. I thought that the lottery was kind of a, I don't know, just this overblown supposed, revenue machine. Your real and true revenue machines are alcohol and cigarettes.
You're
And
right.
so when you add marijuana to the mix and say that, okay, it's legal for you to go out and purchase it, I mean, the tax on a dime bag, are you talking about maybe $1 or something like that? But that's going to add up because folks,
I'm back, Jamal.
okay,
Okay.
couple of dime bags? What?
Hey.
You don't like my terminology? You don't like my terminology? That's fine. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So, moving forward, speaking of the new norm, one of the things that have caught my attention has been the Orange Man and his um, the ways in which things that he has done has become more of the accepted, more of the new normal. So going back, the idea and concept of throwing at George W. Bush the George W. doesn't care about black people was a very large bit of a scandal, shall we say, during the early part of the 2K after the Katrina situation, and the Republicans scrambled to try to fix this issue and to make sure that he was not portrayed further as someone who didn't care about black people, much less Hispanics or so forth. Our current president, however, does not seem to really and truly even care, and that it is not something that the media has continued to carry forth, that it actually is starting to become just, that's Trump. And that's not normal, honestly.
Well, he's an equal opportunity offender. I don't really care. I think it's wrong if you're on his team and his ways of believing, or if you're not. And if you're not, then it's, you know, forget you. I'm saying with him. So and it's so much, like weird things going on with this guy. It's like it's just him. You know what I'm saying? And how can we ever be surprised now? Nothing that he will do will ever surprise me. So I'm just conditioned to believe that anything goes.
I need this not to be the case, though, and I really honestly need there to be a bit more outrage than just on the left side of the aisle. I need there to be consistent sort of understanding that you won, okay, and you have this guy who's in the White House, but there are ways in which the person should and shouldn't do things and should and shouldn't act, and it reflects on you and your legacy, and you're going to be tied to this.
I
So
absolutely agree with you, Jamal. I mean, but we're normal thinking people, and the way we think is no longer welcome in those type of situations. I mean,
I,
we're
I,
out.
I guess you may be right. I guess I still would think that you would still look up and say, you know what, let's go ahead, bring in the other guy, because you do have a Republican vice president. Bring him in, and at least it'll be somewhat above board. No one's going to agree with it, but he's at least a better politician than this guy
But
is.
Jamal, who is this guy really? I mean, and how much different is he? Is he from Trump? I mean, what's the difference?
The difference from the standpoint of actually being transparent. But this guy is worse than Trump, in my opinion, because we actually know where he stands on things. He's very consistently very right wing about things. So
You said right wing.
right wing, yep,
Uh,
yeah.
all right.
You know what? Keep it up.
So, Jamal, let's move it on from that.
Something lighter, please.
Yeah, something lighter. Okay, so can you get your boy Tyrese?
No.
Can you get him? You know, first it's the battle or the one-sided battle that he's having with the Rock on Instagram,
Hmm.
and the Rock's not having it. And Tyrese needs to stop because I think he's alienating himself. And in the future, executives in movies will think more about having him or not having him.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, The Rock has a little bit more star power
Stop
than
it.
Tyrese
Just
does.
a little bit.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit,
Just
Jamal.
a little bit.
Just a
Yeah.
little.
Hmm.
Um, and the whole battle that he's going through with his daughter, he's not the only one in America going through this. Okay. One good thing is Tyrese actually does have maybe the financial ability to have better counsel. Not like a whole lot of other people that are going through this in America. So I'm not gonna feel. I mean, I hate that your situation, but I'm not gonna feel sorry for you when I have cousins and so on that's going through the same type of thing, but do not have the legal ability to have the same counsel that you do. You know what I'm saying? You
Hmm.
cry for not seeing your daughter in 2 months. I know people hadn't seen their children in 2 years. So I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you.
Agreed. And the rumor that is floating around as of late Sunday and into the first thing this morning was that Will and Jada Smith actually gave him $5 million, and in exchange, he was to stay off of Instagram. Would you all like to know how we found out about this?
By Tyrese.
Going on Instagram and telling everybody that, yo, okay, okay, yeah.
And that might be the only money that he'll receive from Hollywood from here on with his shenanigans. So embrace the dollars while
And
you can.
embrace while you can. Let's go ahead and jump to sports right quick. Something I never thought I would actually be doing, and I know that's something that you're not exactly relishing doing. Something in my throat, excuse me. We have to give a bless you. We have to give a congratulations to a team from Houston for winning a championship. We more so are doing it primarily because one of the owners of this team was a legend with the Texas Rangers and who, however, did get his start with this team. We are, of course, referring to the World Series champions, the Houston Astros. To them, we give a hearty congratulations. Go American League. All right,
Jamal,
let's move forward. We're
it's
good.
it's the American League. I'm glad that we took it home. I am actually, for everything that the Astros have been through. I mean, and Houston has been through. Period. This is some type of relief for them. It doesn't take away from the tragedy and the loss, but hey, it's welcome. It's a good thing for somebody to have something to rally around in these times.
Right, right, exactly. That this was a somewhat questionable yet entertaining World Series from the standpoint of home runs being hit and not for the standpoint of incredible pitching. This was it's odd for me, and I don't know about Kay, but the two of us are old enough to remember that the Astros are a National League team, and so this is kind of honestly, I woke up with the realization that two National League teams were playing for the World Series, and it was a head scratcher for me. But I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone, and let's go forward and let's discuss very briefly the NFL.
All right.
And the responsibilities of the league, the union, the Players Association, and the players when there is a potential PR nightmare, how does it get fixed?
Jamal, what I would, if I had an organization made up of a bunch of nationalities, a lot of different social classes. I mean, they're all in one class now because they're paid, but that doesn't mean that's where it came from. Okay, so I would think that if there's anything bothering a majority, of my players, that they can just go to a little committee and just say, "Hey, this is a problem. How do we fix this? Since we have the star power, we have the finances, and we can go out and grab the attention of whoever." That would be nice, Jamal. Does the NFL have that?
So what you're saying is does the NFL, or what I hear you saying is, does the NFL have an understanding that there is an equality taking place and that the players are on the same level as the owners in terms of importance for the league to be able to function? No.
That's part of it, yes.
No, we don't. Nor the understanding that the infighting that's taking place is not exactly good for business from a standpoint of not only being spokespeople, but advertising, and for the understanding that PR is kind of an important thing for an organization to continue.
With that being said, at what point did you realize that the problem players have with things going on the outside of football could potentially hurt your bottom line? An issue, we're going to hold on to this issue, and it's just going to be an issue until something's done. And if your bottom line is affected, isn't that pretty much on you?
Yeah, yeah. It's on me and or the person that I pay a lot of money to make sure that my actual organization runs properly. I mean, especially if I'm paying someone well in excess of $20 million per year to be able to ensure that I really and truly don't have to worry about these type of things, because this person is supposed to be taking care of things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, what I would hope is when the next issue comes and they feel as strongly about it as to protest in any certain way, that the NFL will pay attention to the person and the issue and be a little bit proactive instead of being reactive. That's it.
That would be nice. That would be something along the lines of what, I don't know, the NBA has done.
Oh, wow. So someone else is able to be successful in these type of situations?
Yeah. So that everybody wins, and the whole idea of work stoppages and unhappy players is not exactly something that's sitting out there. Because I seem to recall that the NBA went through in, was it 2016 or 2015, the summer of, and said, okay, this is our deal for the next X number of years. Do you know how long the work stoppage was for? 0.
How long?
There was no work stoppage at all. They said, okay, we're going to do this. Bam, everything's good. Let's move forward. That's what good communication will do for you. So, let's go to something a little lighter than that. Let's talk about some TV shows. Yes. It's okay.
Yay.
I understand that you broke your rule. A first-year show.
I did? What did I break? What am I watching that I broke the rule for, Jamal?
I think it was The Good Doctor. Is that right?
Yes, Jamal. I still don't really know. I mean, I've been watching every week, but I really don't know how I feel about this show. I don't think it's going to make it past this season, though.
What?
I don't.
Wow.
I don't. But I'm still watching for some reason. I don't know why.
Wow. I'm sad to hear that. I'm sorry. and that will probably put you back into the non-watching new shows situation.
Yes, and you know what I do have a regret is I think this blackout. I think on NBC. I wish that I kept watching that show, but I have to like start go back to season 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think I'll be able to do that because
Mm.
there's so many seasons I missed.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not really. It doesn't really look good on the TV front. What are you watching tomorrow?
Um, Withholding judgment, I ask of you. I have been nothing new this season. I've been keeping up with my DC Comics TV shows on the CW and Gotham. And Blackish caught my attention finally, and so I went back and am starting to go through and learn and appreciate the brilliance that is that series. That it's one of the few ongoing series that I still will look at and walk away with, my sides hurting or tears running down my eyes. I am sad to say there are a couple of series recently that I picked up, one of which I did finish. I missed the boat on Atlanta, and I sat down recently, watched it. It's one of the more brilliant shows I've seen in some time. You can go ahead with the "I told you so." Yeah, you did tell me. The other one of the other shows that I've gotten into has been Person of Interest, and it is, of course, no longer on the air, but starring Tyrese Henson, and it is. I am in the middle of the second season. It is a concept that is quite interesting. Quite glad that I didn't watch it while I was on the air. Because once I go through it, I'll be happy that I'm done. But at the same time, it's very entertaining, and
I
that
stopped watching when she left when she died off the show. So you didn't know she died. You know she had to leave the show to go to another show tomorrow. So of course you knew she was gonna have to die, right? Oh, and the NBC show that I was talking about was Blacklist. Not Black Out. I don't know where I got that. Maybe that's a good concept. What's another show? All Black Out. All Black parents in the blackest part of America.
yeah,
So it's possible.
yeah,
Black.
okay.
Okay, so movies. So I'm going to go watch Justice League. But I'm still waiting on Black Panther in February of next year. Jamal, what about you?
I'm not going to tell you because you're going to tell me how the movie ends. I am waiting to get the opportunity to watch Thor and to also watch Justice League, although honestly, at this point, I really would be happy if they just erased everybody else from the film and just had another Wonder Woman instead. And I can't believe you just spoiled the whole show for me.
Jamal, either she had to die or go into a coma. I mean, how do you want to?
I did
I wish
not.
she would have went into a coma so
I
that
did
she could
not.
stop doing the other show and come back to Person of Interest.
But I did not try to figure out the timeline between the two shows. I do know that she went on to do Empire, but I didn't try to figure out the timeline. I left it alone. I just took it as is. In terms of movies, that's it. There was a show that I did start to pick up, and that this is the second season that it's in on Netflix, and that is Stranger Things, and a very interesting show that for those of us who were around in that part of the 80s in America, that it is a nice little interesting time capsule. Very well written though, very suspenseful without being overly over the top in terms of gore, and a really good
Okay.
cast of actors. So I highly recommend it as something to watch. I would tell you how it ends, but yeah. So, all right, let's get down to the meat of this call.
Don't start.
Let's
Okay.
get down to the meat of this call. First of all, welcome. What did you think about Brooklyn? Your stay in Brooklyn, your second stay in Brooklyn, with yours truly as a host.
Well, you took me to another side of Brooklyn I've never been to. Okay. Because when I first started going to New York, we stayed in Brooklyn. It's like I saw a white person. I'm like, hey, I'm a white person. That's because for so many blocks, and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks, there was always.
This
I
was
can
Bed
tell
Stuy.
that there
Yeah.
are more. I'm sorry.
This was we stayed in Bed Stuy the first time. Yeah.
So I mean, but back then I was staying in Bed Stuy as well.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that back in the '90s, there wasn't all there. I can tell that things have changed, like from the '90s till now, that they're moving closer and closer and closer in, because yeah,
Mhm.
they're taking over.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm. So this time you stayed in Cobble Hill, which is, as you pointed out, the other side of Brooklyn, and what were some of your thoughts about your aspects of your stay?
I love that there were so many places to choose to eat. I didn't really care for the liquor stores. Went into two. Didn't really like the selection over in that area.
Mm-hmm.
We had to drive quite some ways to get to some variety.
Variety.
I do like variety. I do like how they set their stuff out, and the little swap meet type stuff they got. They already got some good stuff too. Out. So the shopping. Jamal, hey, I'm a thrifty lady, and I like
Okay, I understand.
different stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I
I don't
understand.
want to look around. I don't like nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That's my life, is not to be like anyone else. So I like the different stuff that they had out. The vintage stuff to
Mm-hmm.
sell.
Mm-hmm.
Love the variety of food, and they have happy hour on Sundays. So I love Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't stay side, but I would definitely travel over to that side to enjoy the things that they have there.
Got you, got you.
Thank
It,
you,
it
Jamal.
was it was it was fun having you there as always, and that for your birthday again, a happy belated. That it was really amusing just to take you to a couple of places. The photography over in Red Hook of the Statue of Liberty, and the just ability to take the pictures from the Brooklyn Bridge as it was getting darker, and otherwise the trekking around around New York in general, and just seeing things. Our trip was unfortunately kind of soured by rain and illness, that we weren't able to take advantage of a couple of things. I really did want to take you to City Island, so the next time you come back, that's high on the list of where I would like for you to go to get some seafood. But since we're on that, can we discuss some of the places that you ate at? I mean, because that's, you know. So
That's the primary
that is the primary
description.
portion. Yeah, that's the primary. So eats, eats, eats. Manja, manja, manja. Let's start with your quick thoughts, and I'm just going to run through. I made a list of the places that I remember eating at, and just give me your quick thoughts on them if you don't mind. So let's start with Wilma
Mm-hmm.
Jean.
Wilma Jean. Okay, so yeah, they have the best chicken that I've had in New York. But then that was the first time I've ever ate chicken in New York. So it was delightful. Very well. I feel they cooked it in a pressure cooker, the chicken. So it was really good. And the sides were good as well. And the only thing that I would like to offer, um, we have our establishment, but for anyone else that's wanting to sell greens, please add a cornbread muffin with your greens. Um, it'll work wonders for your business.
Okay. All right.
And
I,
you can charge up like $2 for just a muffin, and the cost. I'm thinking that you can probably make about $1 if you sell them for like $1.10. You can make like $1 profit off of that muffin. So please start doing that. All people out of South, out of the South, like all places.
I too had the fried chicken at Norma Jean's, and I thought that it was very well done in terms of being very crispy without being overly salty. And some tater tots, which, I mean, because I was missing my tater tots from Sonic in Texas. And I'm trying to think what else I had that day. I wanted the grits, but they were out. And it was one of those strange things to be at an establishment in a predominantly white neighborhood in which grits were out in the middle of the day. Just, yeah, that didn't.
That's kind of like them though. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah,
kind of where I felt a little at home.
yeah. You know what? Let me go to the next place. So the next place was Flor de Mayo.
Jamal, you used to go back in the streak of not finding good places. Jamal, you did a good thing. You did a good thing with that one. And I had the steak with chicken fried. What did I have? Shrimp fried shrimp steak, and it had French fries in it and tomatoes, and cooked all together with the steak and some goodness of the gravy. Jamal, it was a beautiful thing. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. It was a beautiful thing for me. I've had previous trips recently in which they have not, cooked up to expectations. But tonight, I don't know who they put back there, but they handled their kitchen properly. I got their signature dish of the Peruvian chicken and the mixed fried rice, and I don't remember eating that much of the chicken because that fried rice was so on point. I had to order one to go. I finished mine and ordered one to go. So I was very happy that Flor de Mayo didn't let me down. So the next day, someone was very how do I put this, adventurous, and decided to really take a look at the landscape. So one of the things that you did, from what I have here, is that you went to the Buttermilk Channel. I want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about the Buttermilk Channel?
Hello. Oh yes, you were cutting out. Yes, we walked over to the Buttermilk Channel, and there was plenty of people out there. So that's how I knew I was in the right spot. Lord, I was in the right spot. I went for brunch. I had the French toast, and it was wonderful. And my companion had something simple as the pancakes, and they were
And 7th Avenue. Okay. Want to talk about Crispo?
yes. Crispo is a really nice place. It has a lot of ambience if you're into that type of thing. And I had the spinach Well, we all pretty much had the spinach ravioli with the short ribs. I don't think any one of us really wanted to venture out, so we all had the same thing. It was delicious, though. It was pretty good. Okay, Jamal, what do you think?
The seating in the
Yeah.
restaurant for this particular dining experience was in the back, and because the weather was still good, the very back of the restaurant they have a temporary cover over the roof, and that had been pulled back so you could actually see out into the sky. You were essentially dining outside and able to see the neighbors and make fun of the neighbors' balconies and so forth. But the ravioli, the short rib ravioli, again, excellent. Also, there was a nice French bread, garlic bread, excuse me, with cheese
Mm,
on it. Excellent,
yes.
excellent, excellent. Do make sure to talk to your server before ordering to determine the details behind that particular dish. So, that being said, afterwards, just because I'm that person, I dragged everyone to Magnolia Bakery. So, did you, and you got the, what, the banana pudding?
I got banana pudding, and it was good. But anytime the banana pudding is not like homemade custard, whenever you have to throw the whipped cream in it, it kind of takes away. But it was okay for what it was.
I generally get the banana pudding, and when I go there, and I have to admit, I did not eat it as soon as I'd gotten it out of a restaurant, so it may be that that's why or excuse me, my vanilla wafers were a bit on the soggy side, or at least soggier than I wanted them to be. But in terms of a taste, I'm still always a fan of their banana pudding, so it was okay for me. But like I said, I would have really, really preferred that I'd had a little bit stronger crunch in my, vanilla wafers. But having
Mm.
said that, as usual, it was a very good dessert. So let's go ahead and fast forward to Sunday. And Momofuku Milk Bar, which was very nearby to where we were staying. Care to comment?
Well, I was given a cookie for my birthday, but then like 2 days later, everyone else was given a cookie. So I really don't understand how really important my birthday cookie was, since everyone else got well. But fast
Wow.
forward, I went by and I got my favorite coworker some cookies, and I tried the corn cookie, and it was wonderful. Okay, so I want to order a cake. I just need to find 5 people to go in with me on this $100. But I do it. I'm gonna do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you know how.
Did you get to try the crack pie?
Uh, Someone else ate the crack pie, so no, I didn't
Ooh.
get the crack.
That someone is not on this particular podcast, so I feel quite safe. I must say that I saw that there was the potential for a mutiny within the household after I'd gotten the first compost cookie and thought that the smart thing to do would be to make sure everybody else had one because somebody left their cookie just laying out, trying to see if anybody else would try to take their cookie. And
I wish they would.
as it so happened, it just made sense to just go ahead and get everybody their own cookie.
The
Sorry,
place
birthday
is right
girl.
up the street. They got their own cookies, Jamal. No.
Look, birthday lady, I was just trying to make sure you got your own cookie, okay? And in terms of the crack pie, what I've told people is it essentially tastes like someone stripped off the pecans off a pecan pie, compressed the filling, and that is essentially the taste of your crack pie. It's the filling of a pecan pie to me. And yet, I will still, at least twice a year, buy a slice because they do it right. They just do it right. Or maybe
Yeah.
what I need to do is just come back to Texas more often. That'll cure me. Mrs. Fields pecan
You
pie.
think?
I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. So that being said, overall, what were your overall impressions of Cobble Hill?
Like I said, I think it's really a comfortable place to visit. Or either live. I think it's probably a little on the high side, but hey, it's a great place to visit.
I would have loved to have had the opportunity to do a mini little bar crawl up and down Smith Street or Court Street.
Oh
Just
yes,
yeah, that Sunday unfortunately did not afford for that opportunity due to the weather, but that one day that would be something that you would be interested maybe in coming back and doing.
soon, Jamal.
Yes, ma'am. Soon.
Well, no, after the cold.
Oh no,
You
in
know
the
what?
snow.
I've never been to New York in the summertime ever.
You know
Ever.
what? You know why? You love air conditioning. Okay. All right.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, moving forward, let's let's go ahead and we'll move on to dating advice from Kay.
You know, I don't really think that I'm an expert on giving advice, uh, so to speak, and I really don't have an issue to speak on. But all I will say is just keep talking to one another. And I'll just say, just keep talking until the person stops listening. And then I think that's probably where it needs to end. But just stay open. That's my advice.
Okay. All right. I echo that advice in terms of to keep talking. That I think that's a very important thing. Even when you are angry at the other person, that you can sometimes work out things with just some simple talking and an understanding that the two of you want to be happy, and sometimes talking it out, you can get what you want, they can get what they want. So I'm very much in agreement with you. Kay, we've had a question come in from the chat, and that question is, what was your favorite meal during your trip?
The Mayo
The
place, Florida
Flor-
Mayo.
Florida
That's
Mayo?
right.
Okay. The Loma Saltado and the shrimp fried rice?
It was very unexpected, Jamal. I went somewhere with that meal. I just went somewhere. I've never been before. Like, if I can get like two of them people from back there to come down here, we'll make million
Kay!
bucks. I swear to
Kay!
God, we would.
God.
I swear to God. I'll be the hostess. I'll find a waiter, and I'm telling you, it was wonderful.
Can I offer you this, and just a quick reminder, and something that I ran through as well when I first heard about the restaurant, because I gave a very similar look to what you did when I told you about it. That when you offer up to somebody that it's a Peruvian Chinese restaurant, that the look on their face is, okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm a trust that this is okay, but I don't know.
But Jamal, I think it kind of does make sense because a lot of other people's dishes have rice, or it has some type of noodle, and it definitely has meat and vegetables. I mean, but it's genius. I just
Mm-hmm.
need two people.
Right.
Can you help me out?
Right. Can I help you? You know what? There's another question for you in the chat. Question for Kay. What advice would you give for long distance relationships to keep the magic?
Well, in my 30s, okay, I was the long distance queen of relationships. The beauty of a long distance relationship is a build up, okay? You build yourself up, you build it up, you talk, you're anticipating seeing this person. When you actually see the person, I mean, there's no time to fight, bicker, talk about anything important because you're just so happy to see them. You're trying to get everything in within this visit, and you know what? They leave.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! So I think part of a long distance relationship is that time that you are apart. So, and I'm not saying constant communication, but yeah, you need to be talking to this person, texting this person throughout the day, video chats, and then also just the planning of what to do when, you actually see each other. You can put a lot into that. And so when it actually happens, you're really enjoying yourself. Long distance relationships are wonderful.
I great answer, great answer. I'm absolutely the wrong person to ask that question of. I'm absolutely horrible at that sort of thing. So I will go ahead and tiptoe around that. And what I will ask you though is, Kay, there is one part of the trip that we haven't discussed yet. You want to talk about Kay versus United Airlines?
Well, so for the first leg of our trip, we flew Spirit, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was like on time, like everybody got in their seats, and it was just. But on the second part, I was just praying that no one would get dragged off the plane, and more importantly, no one would be me or my companion. Okay, it was just a little tension, and I was like, where is this tension coming from? It just was, and then we both bought the ticket. Ticket was purchased at the same time, but they were so intent on splitting everyone up who bought an economy ticket. Okay,
An economy ticket.
So yeah, economy.
What's...
Okay, so the ticket was like $80. Okay, but just because it's $80 don't mean that you're supposed to separate me and my companion. And they also separated the lady and her companion that sat next to me, just to be mean, I think. So I don't like United. No.
Oh, okay. I am not going to sit across from you and defend this particular airline. And what I will say is that hopefully in the future, if you have to fly this particular airline, that you will have a much better experience. I will say that the airline that you first flew up, I won't fly. I won't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I am happy that that is your airline of choice and that I can look forward to picking you up from their gate when you come back to visit.
I am on the choice, but American doesn't always cooperate.
Right.
Not like they do. They just don't. No.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. Yeah. When we can have a long talk about American one of these days. So, that being said, you want to offer up a Just Sit Down award to someone?
My Just Sit Down award goes to Papa John. Okay.
Dang it!
So, why point out the obvious? Okay, your sales are down just because it's probably down everywhere. No one is really sitting there ordering pizza. Okay, not like they used to. And although Pizza Hut says they're doing okay, no, they're not, because they're sending me 50% off coupons every week in my email. So it's not just Papa John's. I feel that it's everyone. But your stupid self had to go out there and make yourself look like an ass. And of course, even if people were thinking about ordering, we kind of just changed our mind because we really don't care about your situation. Just because maybe you have to change the chemical that you put in your pool because the sales are down a little bit, I really don't care about that. So I'm not going to order any Papa John's ever. Just sit down.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. You took one of the ones that I had in mind for that award. I feel that turning around and to add to what you said, trying to blame the NFL players who are protesting on your sales being down and trying to say that that is what is eroding the ratings of the NFL, trying to push it on them was really that was weak sauce, son. That was really weak sauce. The other person, if I may come up with for a Just Sit Down award would be Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House for Congress. In particular, Paul Ryan, in response to yesterday's events, offered prayer to people who were in a place of prayer. And that instead of offering a true solution to prevent this sort of thing from ever taking place again, you offer prayer. So, Paul Ryan, please, I ask of you and the rest of your GOP family members to please just sit down, don't speak, think about it, okay? Think about it. Okay. So, that being said, Kay, we're out of time. So, appreciate you
Well, I
taking
think
the... Go ahead.
go ahead. We covered a lot.
We did?
Yeah.
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 And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me this afternoon. And look forward to tomorrow when we are on our normal schedule with I Talk Back Sports, in which we will cover the Dallas Cowboys win and other events that took place in the NFL, as well as listening to me moan about the loss of a particular college team that went to Fort Worth and could have won. But nevertheless, until then, Kay, get some sleep. And get some food.
I know.
Yeah, get some food, man.
I will do that.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much again. Goodbye.